start recording.
Sure, definitely. I will do that right now. So in that way, we make sure that everybody's going to be on the meeting and everybody's going to be seeing what has to be seen.
And your camera, you want your camera on or no?
Yeah. Give me 1 second because I'm trying to bring Tony back. So,
Gotcha.
okay. Everybody can see me? Okay. So yeah. Welcome to our, I think, Zoom chat for our family and our community, because we are still a community. And until Tony is gonna come back, just to take it, say a small intro. Tony is back also. I don't know if you can see it here. Okay, and just as an idea, what's going on, it is that we're trying to make this community to be something different, that we can help each other, that we can grow together. And the whole purpose of what we're doing it is just to be here, to be accountable, to help, and whatever is going to be the challenges that you're passing through, like to try to to express it and then to find a solution. So whatever is going to be other people's strength, we can use the strength to help others, and whatever is going to be the things that you need to help with, to kind of look for the help and to do the right Zoom call for that one and take it from there. That's basically the whole thing that we have. And Mike, I think you have to unmute Tony, because
No,
I think.
I did. I got him unmuted already. He's ready to rock. And Tony's going to do a little introduction to, we lost him for a minute, but he's back.
Can you hear Tony?
You guys hear me?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Perfect.
All right. Yeah, that was weird. Everything like froze and I had to. All right, guys. So yeah, welcome to officially our first Zoom call. Kind of new to the whole Zoom world, so I'm kind of figuring this out as we go along, but it's pretty straightforward here. So anyway, so I don't want to hijack the meeting. Tonight's not going to be about me. It's going to actually be about Mr. Mike C-Roc, and just kind of want to go over some basic guidelines for about 5 minutes or so with you guys. So I'll try to be as short and to the point as possible. I do have some guidelines. Like I'm just going to kind of like read off of this and elaborate a little bit on each point. What I'm going to do afterwards is I'm going to go ahead and take this, kind of like paste or upload it rather to the WhatsApp group so everybody has it. So yeah, let's jump right into it. All right, so I created kind of like a little mission statement, which kind of like goes over our intent and goals here with this. So aside from our WhatsApp group, we want to launch weekly Zoom calls. They'll provide value, information, and a place where we can network as well as help connect members of the group to those that may benefit from their product or service. So just kind of get it out there, guys. We're not associated personally with Uncle G or Grant Cardone yet, of course, right? So yeah, this is just kind of like our own thing. We're not, sponsored by him, nothing like that, in case anybody was under that impression for any reason. Just a little bit of background about how the whole WhatsApp group started. It was actually Peter who came up with that. I think his screen name shows Claude, but yeah, it was him that created this. Actually, it was last year. We did it he did it for GrowthCon 3 to kind of like get people networking, talking, plan to meet up and, just kind of like know a little bit more about each other and people attending. So it went really well, for the WhatsApp group for the first time around. The only thing we noticed is, fortunately, we kind of figured it would happen like in the beginning. It kind of went like this, and then like before, the GrowthCon, afterwards, like the energy level was like very high, and then just little by little as time progressed, it just kind of started doing this. So, and I don't know what happened this year, but this year we got like 100 more members in the WhatsApp group out of nowhere. So it's like, oh, okay, so it's grown quite a bit. So that's kind of like the history, if you will, of how this whole thing came about. And of course, a lot of us did the mentorship calls. Once that ended, there was a lot of people saying how they kind of wanted it back. They got a lot of benefit out of it. So I thought to myself, well, we have so many people here. We have people like Mike. At one point, I saw Richard in here, Antonio, and a lot of other people doing big things. So I said, well, what if we kind of try and do the calls ourselves and see where it goes? So, it's kind of like the concept behind it. So the format each week, the way that we have it planned out for now, and of course anything could change. We're open to feedback. Of course, we're kind of like just doing this off the cuff. But for now, the format is each week a speaker will be selected. They're going to have either 20, 30, 40 minutes, however much time, to co-host the call and basically talk about anything that will provide value to all of us, to all the members. So this can be anything as far as like scaling your business, building brand awareness, how to create a 10x sales team, how to increase exposure on social media, how to 10x your own sales, real estate, finance, mindset, even health and fitness. So pretty much anything that's going to provide value and assist us, whether it's on a professional or personal level, those are the things we want to hear. So that's kind of like what we want to get out of this. So that's going to be the format for now. As far as like questions and answers, so we have the chat down there. You guys could ask all the questions you'd like. I'm going to be in there as soon as I pass this over to Peter. All right. As far as like any kind of Q&A, that's totally up to tonight's presenter, which is going to be Mike C-Roc. So basically, he could do it like during the presentation, afterwards. It's up to his discretion. So he's going to kind of take the driver's seat on that one once he jumps on here. Just kind of going through the bullet points here, guys. What we don't want is like a 30, 40-minute like long sales pitch. So try to keep it to like a specific topic, like some of the things that I mentioned, and add your own topics in there. Let's be creative with it. But we want to like add value. We just don't want like a 30, 40-minute infomercial, if you know what I mean. So that's more or less what we had in mind. As far as house rules, please be courteous, respectful. I think it goes without saying. We're all professionals here, so I don't foresee anything like that happening. No spamming. It's okay to network, introduce yourself and what you do. However, please refrain from excessively copying and pasting the same message over and over again. That happened actually, it used to happen in our group last year, and it actually happened in the mentorship calls as well with Grant. I remember Grant put him on blast. Like, I guess somebody was copying and pasting their information. So, try to avoid that, be positive, professional, that sort of thing. Definitely we're all here to scale our business, get out of obscurity, whatever that may be, whatever our goals are. But just try to avoid from like, spamming or just, introduce yourself, where you're from, what you do, that kind of thing. But, I guess don't overdo it, if you will. So yeah, I went over the part about being initially muted to just kind of avoid chaos and everybody like speaking over each other. So again, that's up to Mike as he's doing his presentation. As far as how long the calls will go on for, I think we're thinking it's Sunday evening, it's 8 p.m. Eastern. We're thinking for now, maybe do it for about an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half. We'll kind of, I guess, play it by ear, see how it goes. And that's pretty much it, guys, for me. As far as any house rules, I'm going to go ahead and copy and post this into the WhatsApp group a little bit later. So all you guys have it. Anybody interested in speaking, please reach out to me or Peter in the group, and we could take it from there. So that's it for me for now, guys. And with that, Peter, take it away.
Can you hear me? Yeah, so, the only thing I want to add to this one, let me make sure that I'm going to put also my camera, that if you want any specific topic to be talked about, by all means, please let us know ahead. We're trying to create like a chat with every single topic that everybody wants to talk about. If it's sales, marketing, and we'll see who we have on time. If you have any strength that you can, like Susie has with her financials. So if anybody's interested about financials, we can definitely make a show with that one. If anybody has any other specific strength, we can use those one and create something more targeted. So in that way, it's going to be more efficient. That's about all. Nothing specific, but with a very purposeful target, which is going to be the growth, our growth as a group and as a community. That's all. Mike, ready?
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, welcome, crew. I'm gonna have to keep watching because people keep popping in, and I have to add them in the way this is set up. So if you see me looking over to the side, just bear with me because I had to be the host on this just to be able to mute people and unmute people if you have questions. I'm your boy C-Roc, Mike Sirocco. My friends call me C-Roc. I run a big nations lending division, which is a home loans company throughout the country. I'm based in the Mid-Atlantic and Southeastern Florida, Miami. And I also am the starter founder of the What Are You Made Of movement and podcast. If you haven't heard, check it out. I'm here to add content and help people in their lives and business. I'm on a mission. And if you haven't heard my story, just real briefly, When I was 11 years old, I came from a broken home. My dad basically gave up on me when I decided to move out of his house and move back with my mom. It was a very psychological and emotional abuse going on for 3 years. And when I decided to leave him, he took a $100 bill off his $100 bill wad that I always looked up to him for, because he was my hero, my dad. And he crumpled it up and threw it at me and said, here, you're going to need this when you're living on the streets with your mother one day. And so from 11 years old until 43, which I am now, I've had a fire in me that I can't put out. But I really didn't know, I wasn't aware of it until about a couple years ago. I knew it was there. I did ride off of it, but I really never knew how to use it. And I always vowed that I wasn't going to let him win, because I wasn't going to need that money. And also I was going to help other people that have been given up on. So I've always had this in my heart to do that. So about 2 years ago, and tonight I want to talk about how I turned my company around from, we were up here and we had to switch from one mortgage company to another. And we went like this very quickly because culture crumbled. And then that's when I found Grant and the 10X movement. And I learned the things that we did in the past that were good that we did, and the things that were bad that we did. And some things we should have done and we didn't do. And we turned our company around very quickly in 2 years and got right back up over $5 million a year in revenue. We pushed 10 million at the other company, but it wasn't secure because the foundation, which I believe culture is the foundation, wasn't there. It had rotted, and the owner of the company had let it get there, and I didn't speak up, so I take responsibility for that. So anyway, I like to keep things simple, guys. I'm going to fly through this, but if you have questions, Peter and Tony, if you guys can keep an eye on the comments just in case it gets loaded up over there, and we'll try to answer the questions after I'm done. But as I'm going through, if you have something, take notes. This is important stuff, guys, and I'm only going to tell you stuff that works because I've done it. I didn't make the stuff up. So I want you to know that. And I hold firm and true to these things. And if I'm ever off, if I ever feel off, if our group's ever off, I always go back to these 4 things, okay? And these 4 things I'm going to start with. Number 1 is gratitude. I know you've heard of this before. You hear about this all the time. By the way, everybody give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. Good? Okay. Gratitude, everybody talks about in the morning. Wake up and have gratitude, which is important. I do that too. But I'm not talking about at home. I'm not talking about just myself. I'm talking about it in a group. In our group, in the mortgage business, and this will work as solopreneurs and on up as you add people to larger companies, you have to be able to show genuine gratitude to the people that you work with. Because if you don't, the money that they're getting paid for their salary or their hourly will not be enough to make them feel fulfilled, because they'll have their own goals they're trying to go after. But as far as the relationship with you, especially if it's somebody that you rely on and they're relying on you, that unappreciated feeling is never a good thing. And in order to get over that, what we've done in our meetings, once a week sales meetings we have daily meetings too, but the one main weekend or once a week meeting we actually go through and start with a gratitude exercise. And I got this not from Grant, the 10X movement, but I actually got it from a guy named Bill, I forget his last name, but he was the coach for the founders of Google, Apple, friends with Steve Jobs, and he was a football coach. And he wasn't the best football coach as far as wins and losses go, because he cared more about his team's grades and their life. But what he talked about in the board meetings, they would do gratitude exercises before they got started. So what we started to do, and this might be a little difficult in larger companies, there's ways to do it because you can form little groups, but we go around the group and we start with the one person. They'd say a name and one sentence for what that person did for them last week. They went above and beyond and something they appreciated them for. And then nobody can repeat the same thing. So we go around the group. It takes about 15 minutes for 30 people. We fly one word or one name in one sentence, and we go through it. And what happens, what I saw, the first week I interjected that, I thought it was going to be kind of corny. And I'm like, man, I'm going to try this. But the guy says it works. The book's called The $1 Trillion Coach. And I read that book, and if it worked for him, it has to work for anybody. So I injected it into the group and sat back and watched. And the next week they were thanking me. They were naming me as one of the people they thanked for implementing that into our group. And all of our processors who felt underappreciated by the sales reps were riding high and ready to run through like a brick wall for our sales reps after that. So it's a game changer. So we started doing that. And we kept it going, and it hasn't died down now. And it's like something that like makes people feel good, because I started to realize it when they started naming me. And they would say, hey, Mike, I'm thankful that this, and this, whatever I did the week after or the week before that. And I started realizing that this is powerful. It's not corny. And maybe just because me as the leader thought it might be corny, because at Thanksgiving when we did it with the kids, it was kind of like, you know, there's people that really, really felt that in their hearts, and it made them want to come to work, and they felt appreciated. So gratitude in that manner has changed the ball game for our company. So we started doing that. And then what we did was we started seeing our graphs just shoot up. And 2019, February and January and February, we did 27 loans. So make a note of that if you can. If you're taking notes, write down 27 loans, because I'm going to tell you what we've done the first 2 months of this year. And this is all not conjure. This isn't just me rah-rah. This is some real numbers. And we measure our numbers very, very, very granular. All right. So number 1 is gratitude. Number 2, goals, targets, and being in alignment with our team. And I know we've talked about this in the mentor group and the 10X mentor group a lot. I know you guys have heard about this. I got 3 people waiting. Bear with me. I just let them in. Welcome to the group, guys. Welcome to the group. Just let the ones that I just let in. We're going over the 4 pillars of how I got my company turned around. The first one was gratitude. You guys can watch the recording to catch up on that. Number 2, goals, targets, and making sure we're aligned. So I have my goals and my targets. My partners have our goals and targets where we want to hit. And we made them big, obviously, because you guys know to deal with that. 10X everything. We made them so big, though, that we were like, how are we going to get our team to understand that we can accomplish these things? So what we did was we laid it out to the group. And I had to lay it out to my partners as well, because my partners' minds weren't always where my mind was. I was a little ahead of them because I started studying the 10X rule. I started studying different things 2 to 3 years ago. And they weren't doing that. They weren't doing their part on the studying. And most recently, they have caught up with it. But I had to lay these things out. And I did something what's called rooftop leadership. And I did a blog on this and a podcast on this. And the What Are You Made Of on iTunes, you can check it out. But there's a guy named Scott Mann who was a Green Beret. And he went and Magdi probably heard the story before, but he fought with the Taliban, or against the Taliban with the villagers. And he went into the villages and he told a story. And I did this before I even read his thing, but I became aware of this afterwards. I'm like, holy cow, I did this. And it was just something that came over me naturally to do. But he would go into the village with the Green Berets, and they would say, we're going to fight the Taliban. We're going to do it, 1, with or without you. Number 2, if you don't want us here, we will leave. And number 3, we're going to keep going up and down the roof and fight every single day. And he kept going up with his team and fighting on the roof, and the villagers would just watch him. And they didn't go up at first. And the Green Berets would come back down every day with their wounded. Sometimes they're fallen comrades. Every day they would go back up and fight again. And then eventually the villagers started watching this, and then they said, you know what? We're going to go up and fight. So 1 villager at a time would go up, and before you know it, the whole village was fighting. And they called that rooftop leadership. It's a psychological thing, but it works in business. And Scott Mann brought that back from the battlefield to share with people about how it works in business. So I did this. Now, I didn't do it to a T. Obviously, I wasn't fighting anybody. But I felt like I was in a battle, because when our business went down like this because of the other company, which was all screwed up, it's another topic. I felt like the weight of the world on my shoulders. I had 22 employees, all their families looking at me saying, now what? And so I had to take drastic measures. And that's when I put these 4 things into place: gratitude, and then this one right here. My goals, make sure they're big, and make sure they were aligned with my team. Now, you may ask, what if they're not aligned with the team? Well, you have to lay your vision out and goals to the team and find out what theirs are. But you also have to ask them and create an opportunity for an exit and say, hey, here's my goals and dreams for this business. They're big. And if you're not aligned with it, that's okay. I'll help you get aligned with it, or I'll help you find another job. And you can't be scared to say that. So if you're a single person and you're adding people to your team 1 at a time, or you have a big group, you need to get this through your head and make sure you write this down. You can never sacrifice your dreams or visions for people on your team that aren't aligned with you. Now, you can get them aligned and help them get aligned, but you got to create an exit for them, because they will drag you down and they'll keep you from going to your dreams. And on the topic of goals, guys, I want to talk about something real quick about this coronavirus thing. A lot of it comes down to fear. And I see somebody's in the store right now shopping. and I just sent my wife to the store to get some things, right? You got to be prepared to be smart. But one thing I'm not is I'm not scared, because the worst thing that can happen, God forbid, we're all going to die one day. We're all going to die. You can't escape that, right? And when it's your time, it's your time. But what I'm going to tell you right now, and you guys should all feel this and try to get it through your heads. While we're still here on this planet, it is our duty and obligation to give our best without fear and be role models for other people that can't do that. Show them what it's supposed to be done, how it's supposed to be done. Because of course we feel a little bit of something inside of us, a little bit of anxiety, but what your job is to do is to push it down. Because guess what? If you have goals and visions and dreams, you need to remove all obstacles. That's one of my favorite lines to tell myself, besides, what are you made of, Mike? What are you made of, C-Roc? Remove all obstacles. One of the obstacles and main obstacles that we all face is fear. Whether it's this situation, fear of failing, fear of what people might think, fear of having a company of employees and worrying about them not going along with your vision. There's a lot of things that are hurdles that you have to get rid of. Remove. Does everybody, matter of fact, somebody look up the word remove for me, and I'll unmute you if I can see a hand when you find it. I want to know the definition of what remove is, so we're clear on what remove means. And let me see a hand if somebody finds it. And I don't think we need to, okay, I gotcha. All right, fire away.
Okay, so it takes something away or off from the position occupied. Can you hear me?
Yeah, take something away.
Or off from the position occupied.
There you go. Take it away. Doesn't mean leave it nearby. Maybe take it out of there. Leave some of it. Remove. Take it all away. Get it out. Right? Remove, and then all or some.
Take something away.
No. I'm saying, when I say remove all obstacles, am I saying remove all obstacles, or am I saying remove some obstacles?
You're saying some.
No. All.
Oh, you're saying all? Okay.
All obstacles. Everybody clear on that? You have to remove all obstacles, which means you can't remove some of them and say, I'm going to leave this little fear inside of me. I'm going to leave this little fear, this coronavirus in my mind because, I removed everything else, because that's going to hold you back from your goals. Does everybody get that? So and by the way, you won't do that. You will not remove all obstacles unless you really, really are committed to your goals. You have to be so sold out in your heart, your mind, obsessed. Grant's book, Be Obsessed or Be Average. It's true. He means the words he says. Be obsessed. If you're not obsessed, you will not remove all obstacles. So I like to keep this simple, guys. You have to figure out if you want it first, whatever it is. And I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. They're on the call here. I won't say any names, but this person knows who they are. And you have to be committed to what you told me in order to remove all obstacles. If you do not remove the obstacles, you're not going to get what you want. All right. So this coronavirus situation, who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know what's real, who to believe, but you know what? I can't control that. All I can do is be prepared and remove all obstacles. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I showed up to this call tonight. I'm glad that you guys all showed up. There's somebody waiting. Let me let them in. And some people didn't, because you know what? They're not removing all obstacles, because I guarantee you this call is important to them achieving their goals. Anybody that's on that 10X WhatsApp group, this is important to them for achieving their goals, and they need to make sure they remove all obstacles. So I have to bury that into you guys, because that's so important. So important. Because every day I wake up, as I'm going through these 4 things, besides what I'm trying to build my company, I started the What Are You Made Of movement. I became obsessed with getting known, getting famous, not because of my ego, because I want people to know who C-Roc is. It's not about that to me. But I cannot help people, which is my commitment, my heart, my mind. I'm obsessed with it because of my dad giving up on me. I'm obsessed with it. I can't help millions of people if I don't get known. So I became obsessed. Every morning I wake up and I write it down. C-Roc is a household name for inspiration, consultation, helping people, helping businesses. I write it down and I'm committed to it. And that's why you see me going crazy. If you guys see me on social media, I'm going nuts with it. And I'm probably not going hard enough. As a matter of fact, I'm going to turn it up a notch now that I just said this. So, All right, so I got off on a little tangent there, but goals and targets and alignment, very big goals and remove all obstacles. Everybody got it? All right, and then the thing is that if the people aren't aligned with you, you have to tell them, I will do this by myself, and I will find one person at a time that's aligned with my goals if it's not for you. It's okay. There's no hard feelings. I will help you move to a new company. You have to be able to say that. And I've said that to my team so much to the point where some of the ladies that work with me said, you're being kind of hard on these guys. I think that's kind of harsh. I don't know if you should do that. And I had to second guess myself sometimes. But then I go back to my goals that I wrote down. That's why we write them down so many times. And I look back at what I want, and I see that that's an obstacle, and I say, you know what? No, you're wrong. And if you don't like me saying that, you can go work somewhere else too. Because I'm going somewhere. I have a target. I have a place that I'm going, and I have to get there, and you're not going to stop me from getting there. And you're going to come with me, or you're going to stay behind. And I'm going to add one person at a time. Now, what happened to that was I lost six people. 2 years ago, I lost 6 people, and that's fine. Matter of fact, I was really happy to have them go. And when they went, my business shut up. I want you guys to think about setbacks as like pulling a rubber band back. That's your setback. And when you release that rubber band, what happens? Right? You get that big momentum swing. That's what happens in business. It happens in your personal life when you remove all obstacles. It sounds harsh. I know Grant studies Scientology. He goes to Scientology. Some people have problems with that, and they have problems, and they think they see all this glorification sometimes about how they cut people off. Guys, they're cutting people off because people are getting in the way of their goals. Now, I'm not a Scientologist. I'm going to be clear on that. I've looked at it, read some things on it, but I just want everybody to understand that remove all obstacles is so important in business and life. And if you hear somebody doing that, make sure you know the whole story before you judge them, because maybe they have a goal and somebody's getting in the way of their goal. Okay. And I know it sounds harsh, but that's the way it is. It's the truth. And it's the only way to accomplish your goals. All right. So that was number 2. Number three, accountability. Now we all talk about getting into these groups for accountability, but when you're in a company, how do you hold yourself and your people accountable? Whether it's yourself, like I said, a solopreneur, which you should be looking to add people. There's nobody that should stay as a one-man team, one-woman team. There's no argument that you'll ever sell me on. Now, because I went through Cardone U, I'll always agree with you, but then I'll handle the objection. I'm with you. I understand. Sure. You shouldn't be by yourself. You got to have people, and you got to buy time. So you got to grow 1 at a time, 3 at a time, whatever it is, and be able to replicate yourself. Okay. And you don't have to be 100% of yourself, but even if you get to people to 60 to 70% of what you can do, and you get 3 of them, you're better off. Okay. But accountability, how are you going to hold yourself accountable and your team accountable? You have to put something in place with this. So what we've done, I'm just going to give you a couple things. I'm not going to get into real depth. And by the way, when I'm done talking tonight, I'm going to share with you guys how you can engage further with me, where I'll look into your business specifically, or your team's business, or whatever, and we can get like real deep into it. Right now, I'm just going over the basics. But one of the things that we've done from the start was we told everybody to keep track of their activities for the day. Now, I have a very elaborate system. Matter of fact, can I screen share? I think I can. I'm going to pull something up. Promise that you don't tell anybody this, but I'm going to share something with you because I'm going to show you how granular I get. And this is no bullshit, okay? Can you guys see the screen? Somebody just speak up because I can't see you.
Yes.
Okay. You see all these stats, right? I'm not going to let you see everything, but you can see all these stats. So I want to show you one thing real quick. It's called this is the one thing I want to show you, the loan officer leaderboard. All right. If you can see this right here, it has all my loan officers on the left side here. I can see how many credit orders they did today, this week, this month. And in our business, in the loan business, you have to pull credit to close the loan. So this is the start of the sales cycle. First of all, it's calls or leads gotten or something coming in, but then you have to pull credit. So I can tell what's going on. Last week, we pulled 131 credit reports, which is out of this world. So that means that our months coming up are going to be really good. And so this is what I keep track of, our funded loan volume. And I have all this stuff here. So right away, this is real time. I can watch this stuff and I can see what's going on with my team. And I can call somebody if they're slow and call them up. Hey, what's going on? Check it in with you. Just seeing if everything's okay. Are you working today? Are you engaged? And guys, I can do that and not feel bad about it, because sometimes people don't want to go on their people and get hard on them about it, or even question yourself. But the reason that I can is because they committed to me when we talked about goals of what they wanted and that they were aligned with my team's goals. So that gave me permission to go to them and hold them accountable. Does that make sense? If I didn't ask them that at first, then going to them and asking them, what's going on today? Why aren't you hitting your numbers? It won't work. I have to make sure that that was their goals. They're aligned with the team's goals. And then I can go ahead and question them and ask them, hey, what's going on? All right. So that's one thing. The other thing is we have accountability. It's not just me. Our team holds each other accountable, because our team knows that we're trying to go somewhere as a team. And if the team does better, each individual does better. And so we started this $100 million a month loan volume. 100 million loan, 100 million a month, 100 million a month. We had no idea how long it was going to take to get there, because we were doing 4 million a month. All right. We wanted to get to 10. So we 10x'd it. Now that makes it 100, right? So I'm going to share some numbers with you now. Write this down. We did 4 million a month. All right. We were averaging 4. Guess what we started doing last year at the end of the year, each month consistently? 15.5 million. So 400% increase. Now that's not 100 yet, but we went up 400% in 1 year. How many companies do you know that have done that and then held true to it? Because now this year, last year, February and January, we did 27. I told you guys to write down 27. We did 88 loans the first 2 months of the year this year. 60 more loans in 2 months. All right, guys. So this stuff is because of the stuff that I'm showing you here. And of course, massive activity levels, because that's what what our goals are leading to. Okay. But the accountability became a we accountability. So every single day, all of our team sends an email to the group of everything that they did that day. How many calls did you make? How many people did you talk to? I can see the stats of the credit pools. How many pre-approvals did you send out? How many closings did you have? And sometimes there's not results. Sometimes they just put activity in there, which is fine, because maybe they didn't have the results that day that they wanted. They might have called 30 people and nobody answered the phone. Well, at least you called 30 people. So tomorrow, you need to call more than 30 people. And eventually people are going to answer the phone, and eventually you're going to get the credit pools. But at least you're telling yourself, hey, I did the activity. And they tell the team that you did the activity. And you tell the team, and what happens is the team starts riding off of it. If one person doesn't send their email, we ride their ass. I'm on them. My team is on them. Hey, I'll tell my brother Casey, who works for me, I'm going to get on Joe, and you also get on Joe 10 minutes later. Got it? Got it. Now we're both hitting. Joe, what's going on, man? Everything all right? We want you to, we want you to be successful. What's going on, bro? We're here for you. Anything we can help you with. Now, if they don't send their email, that we're on them. If they send their email and it looks down or something and they're having a rough day, we pick them up. It gives us an opportunity as a team to lift each other up. If somebody has a great day, you know what we do? We celebrate. All right, so that's what it's for. Now, when we first started this and I implemented it, it was hard to get it going, but I stayed on top of the people. And what happens was I told them, this is the only time I tell people to lie. I said, look, if you don't have a great day at calls and you're not doing the activity you should do, send an email anyway and lie and say that you called 50 people. And you know what? I want that's going to make you feel like shit, first of all, but I want you to do this because the team's going to see it and the team's going to see that activity and it's going to rise the team up because they're going to be like 50 calls. I got to step up my game. And so it starts putting this thing with everybody and they start rising up. And the guy that lied knows that he's lying. And I don't have people on my team that are bad, that are bad people. So what happens is that they start believing that they did it or they need to step up their game. And then the results start to follow. If the results don't follow, then everybody knows that they lied. So in jest, I say, hey, just put something out there to everybody. Just put it out there. And then around the circle, our team started to rise. Okay. So that's a little bit of the accountability factor. And I'm flying through here because it's 8:41. I got the fourth one right now. This is a big one, guys. We were talking about this on the Pitch Freaks call the other day. And there was somebody on there that consults companies for being a brand ambassador. And basically that is everybody in the company touting the team, touting the company that you work for, trying to bring business in the door, not just the salespeople. If you just rely on the salespeople, that's great. And they do a great job, great. But what happens if you have half salespeople and half support staff? Like we have processors in the mortgage business and underwriters and junior loan officers and junior processors. What happens if I can get those people asking for business to everybody that they talk to? And I give them what to say and teach them how to do it. So they don't feel like they're salespeople, because they don't need to feel like that, that some of them are against that feeling. So I can teach them ways to say things so that they can still ask for business. After every call, hang up and say, hey, by the way, do you know anybody else that might be buying or selling in the next 6 months? That's that question alone. If they do it every single time, will bring business in the door. Now, how can I make them do it and want to do it? Pay them, right? So we tell them, listen, you guys get licensed. I'll pay for your licensing. You don't have to be a full-time loan officer, but get licensed so you can get paid money. And if they don't get licensed, they can make a little bit of money. But I'll pay for your licensing. Excuse me. So what happened when I did that, it created an environment and a culture of unlimited income potential. None of our processors, nobody can ask for a raise because they have to ask themselves for the raise. I haven't had one person come to me complain about money. I haven't had one person ask for a raise because I'm constantly every day talking to them about how much money they can make and how much is available to them. I let them know about it, and I remind them over and over again, hey, guys, you want to make more money? It's there for you. Go get it. Who's got your money? Unlimited income potential. All you got to do is go get it. Let me know how I can help. Now, I have a processor, guys, that she makes about 80 grand a year, and that's a pretty good pay for a processor in the loan business. And she started asking for business and doing what I told her to, and she closed 1.1 million in November, which paid her 1% of that amount. So she made an extra 11 grand that month on top of her regular 7 or 8 grand going into Christmas. What do you think that did for her and her family? And to top it off, when those loans came in, the $1.1 million worth of loan volume, that way more paid for her salary for us. So do you see it's all around win? Culturally, it's steroids. And so unlimited income potential, that's number 4. No limits, unlimited income potential. And we encourage them. And what it does is it helps them, their families, and it helps us. And Grant, I know Grant talks about this all the time. Everybody in their staff can sell something. So I implemented that and I went hard with it. And I had people fight me on it constantly. But guess what? These other people that are fighting on me have salaries, payroll salaries, and all this other stuff of overhead in their business. And I get so much loan volume from my support staff, not even my sales staff, that my overhead's covered. So that's my four things. There's other things, obviously, that fall underneath of those things that we do, and it's more in depth. And any 4 of those can translate to any one of your businesses, every single one of them. And I can help you with that as well. And I'll do a Q&A here in a second. But remember that one thing I told you, remove all obstacles. As we're going through this situation right now, if you get sick, drink a lot of water, know in your mind you're going to beat it. Just an obsessive know in your mind that you're going to knock anything out that comes your way. Like, bring that shit to me. I'm going to kick its ass. That's how I think. I mean, I don't want to get sick. Don't get me wrong, but I just think that way. And if it gets me, it gets me. But it's not going to get me easily. So I want to share that with you guys because that's how I roll. I'm not letting anything win. I'm relentless. If I used to get in a fight when I was a little kid, 5 guys jumping on me, I wouldn't quit. I'd grab one of them and try to beat him. And in my book, you'll hear a story about that. And when I did that one time, I'm not an advocate of fighting, but when I get jumped as a 12-year-old kid, and I learned that if I grab one and get one of them really good, they're not coming back. It helps. So, but I approach that way in my business and life now. I don't fight people anymore. But so any questions? I'll be happy to answer questions. I'm gonna make sure I covered everything. Oh, and by the way, before I get into Q&A, I have the Waymo crew. It's a private coaching group. This is the only little pitch I'll give to you guys. If you want me to engage with you further, you want to work with me on your business, if you're a solopreneur, there's some people on this call that are in the Waymo crew, and we've had 2 calls so far of a 6-week program. I'm going to give you the website, and I'll put it in the comments as well. It's waymocrew.com/mentor group. It's a private coaching group. It's a little different than this. It's not different than what I just went over with you. It's that stuff in more detail, but it's different than Grant's calls because that's more for just salespeople and doing sales stuff. But let me go ahead and put this in here real quick. And I'm going to also put my email in here. If anybody wants to ask me anything, has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And there's my email as well. And I also do speaking. I do business consulting as well because by the way, one thing I want to add before we get Q&A, I didn't go out and do this other stuff, the Waymo stuff, the podcast, any of this stuff until I had my company solid, running like a machine. I have 3 partners I grew up with. They run the company. I quarterback it. I do sales meetings. I touch base with my team regularly. But I had my first flow, my good thing. It was solid. So I want you guys to all know that. So I know you guys get thoughts running in your head for all kinds of ideas to do. Make sure your first thing is solid and you can pay your bills with it. Because if you don't do that, you're going to be all over the place. And then make sure the second thing that you do aligns well with the first. Because the podcast got me known. And all the speaking and all the other stuff that I'm doing feeds our mortgage business. So, all right, guys, any questions? Let's go. Tony, you want to moderate this, or how do you want to do this? I got you unmuted, Tony. I think. No, I can't unmute you for some reason. There you go.
How about now?
Yeah, you're good.
Awesome. No, that was great, man. It's a lot of the removing obstacles, man. I like that because I need to definitely. It's so where I work at. It's not my company. It's my friend's company. I'm trying to run it, make it grow and all this stuff. But yeah, just removing obstacles. It gives me a lot of food for thought there, and just kind of like reanalyze things. And we definitely have some obstacles in some areas. So I kind of. The whole rubber band analogy, I really like that as well. Like, I kind of see how that would work out. Yeah. Just
hey, Tone. Well, that in your position, what I would do if I was you is I would call a meeting because if you're not the owner, call a meeting and say, hey, listen, I got a thing I heard last night. I want to go over something with you. Just get your ideas on it. Let's create a list. Make sure that I don't know if you sit down with them or not and have your goals, but if you don't do that first, obviously. But then let's write a list of obstacles that we have. Like what we need to remove out of our way. Let's get on the same page with that. And let's really, really be really direct with it, intentional with it to get everything out of the way. Now, by the way, it's not just things. I have a bunch of things written down here. People are obstacles, guys.
Yes.
Family members, friends. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. I have family members that I stay out. I don't get real tight with, man. My mom, for example, she can be tough sometimes. And I see her and say I love her and I call her, make sure she's okay. If she needs anything, I'm there for her. But I try to not hang out with her too much because she can be an obstacle. And that's just the way it is. I love her to death, man. There's some friends of mine that I had to get rid of. Things, events, activities, actions. I used to like to gamble on football games. I don't know if anybody else used to have a bookie or anything. I like watching football, and I don't even watch football anymore because my goals and stuff that I'm going for so much, it got in the way. So I got rid of it. I never, ever would have thought that football, gambling on football, and I never did real ridiculous, but I mean, but I would never thought I would have gave that up or wanted to. I don't even care about watching my team, but my dreams and goals are so big that I removed them. So I practice what I preach. So it could be that, it could be smoking, drinking. That's another thing, drinking. I used to drink like on the weekends. I would have 3 to 5 drinks, Saturdays, Fridays. I had 2 sips of wine this weekend and had no interest in drinking anymore. Didn't even think about it. Went out to dinner, didn't even order a drink because it's not accomplishing what I need to do. It's an obstacle. Move it. Get it out of here. And if I'm telling you guys that, I'm telling my team that, I'm telling my family that, and I don't practice it, what does that do? So you also have to know that everybody's watching you. Eyes are on you, not like Big Brother, but as a role model, people are watching you. And that's what I talked about with this fear thing. People are watching. If you talk about 10X all the time and you talk about being in a mentor group all the time and you talk about how you're trying to achieve different things and you're posting stuff on social media, people are watching you, and it's your duty and obligation to be a role model and show them how to act when things like this happen. So, yeah, Tony. So that's what I would do on that, by the way.
Nice. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Anybody else? If you throw up a hand, guys, because some of you don't have your cameras on, so if you want to put anything in the comments. See anything, Tony? All right, I don't see anything else. We all good? All right, I think I did pretty good on time.
I think like everybody like listen on, it's only listening, but like by all means, like let's make this one big. So thank you very much, first of all, Mike, for all the sharing that you did with us and all the nuggets that you share with us, and the experience, because at the end of the day it's all about experience. And I think everybody has, like in this group, a certain experience that it can relate with what you have, or maybe things that it's actually as an obstacle with what you just mentioned, that they can use this information in order for them to grow. I think it's important for us to understand that the reason we're doing this call is, like I said before, is for us to share, to understand, to grow, to help each other. So if you have anything that is going on right now that you consider it's an obstacle, maybe it's a good time for you to speak up or post it in the chat and just let it out. Let us know what is the challenge that you have, whatever it is. It can be like marketing or sales, or a mom, a family member, whatever it is that it's stopping you to be the best, to be the great. And let's figure out some good ideas to put it together. So Mike, maybe to unmute a few people to see what is their thoughts, and to take it from there.
I'm gonna unmute everybody, and then if somebody's too loud, I'll just have to mute them. All right. All right, you guys are all unmuted. Anybody want to fire away?
Question: what is anybody is affected with their business, such as restaurants or whatnot, because of what's going on right now? Anybody in here have a business that's affected, like greatly affected?
She said, I don't know if you guys can hear, but she said, anybody affected by what's going on right now? I know some of the stuff's shutting down. Anybody have restaurants or bars or anything like that are? By the way, if anybody is, we're all praying for you guys, and our thoughts are with you. If anybody needs to talk, shoot me a message anytime. I mean, we're all supportive in the WhatsApp group, but if anybody needs anything, we all have a tough heart and tough skin, but sometimes you have sometimes where you're just feeling tough. Things aren't going right, whatever. Speak up and ask for help if you ever need it. Don't ever hesitate, guys.
What is the Pitch Freaks call you were speaking about? You're on.
Antonio, can you hear me? I don't know if he's there. I see it is on there, but
yep. What's up?
Yes, can you answer Johannes's question about your call?
Pitch Freaks is Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We do pitch coaching and role playing for about an hour to 2 hours every Thursday. I'll help you get your pitch right.
5 p.m.
5 p.m. Pacific time. Just go to Pitch Freaks Community. Yeah, Pitch Freaks Community on Facebook. You can join that and get more info.
Can you
post that in chat so we could all see that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we'll do that now.
Yeah. By the way, guys, that's he'll put that in the comments, but that's a great thing, man. Get involved. He knows his stuff, and it'll help your business.
Yeah, Antonio is definitely great. Maybe we can do the next one.
You guys, thank you so much for all the leadership and doing this call. It's awesome.
Yeah, these two guys are great. Let's give a shout out to Tony, Pete. Appreciate you guys, and thank you for having me on here, guys.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything? Anybody else? You guys are all unmuted, so you can speak up.
Just kind of want to get an idea of what we're talking about here tonight. I just kind of jumped in a little bit late. Had a hard time jumping in and taking these markets, everything that's been going on with this.
Hold on one second. Let me hold on one second.
That's Colby. That's Colby talking.
Yep. Hold on one second. I got you. Where did he go? There he is. All right. There you go. Go ahead, bud.
Hey, what's going on, C-Roc? What's going on, everybody? Just wanted to jump in and get a temp check of where we're at. I got in a little bit late, had a little bit of an issue getting into the call tonight. So I'm just getting here late. Want to say thanks to Jared for sending the code for me to get in. I've just been spending a lot of time looking up everything that's going on with the COVID-19, how it's affecting markets. So I've been tied up with that. So what are we talking about here tonight?
So I just went over my four, basically I keep things simple, but I created a business in the mortgage industry that went up to close to 10 million in revenue, and it came crumbling down, lack of culture, what have you. Mm-hmm. I went back and in 2 years got it back over 5 million in revenue, and I went over the 4 steps that we use for that. We are recording this, so you'll get a link to it.
Awesome.
So, and by the way, I'm going to take full responsibility for this. On this link, I had to be made the host, and I'm not used to having to let people in at the top. So as I was talking and going over my thing, I kept looking up and seeing people were coming in late. So I had to keep hitting allow in. So I'm sorry if you guys were sitting waiting for a while. It's on me.
No, I get it. I did a training last week where I was helping people get exposure to brand awareness for the next time they're at a conference, and it was the same deal. Like, it doesn't notify you, it doesn't ding. So
right.
If you're not looking at it,
yeah.
If you're not looking at it, you don't know. So trust me, I get how it goes.
Yeah, I have a question here. Let me see. Curious how the second, third, et cetera streams support my current loan business. All right. So in the mortgage business or any sales business that you're in, what are the 2 main problems that all salespeople and businesses have? Anybody know? This is a 10X grant thing.
Obscurity.
Yep. Nobody knows who you are. And if they know who you are, they forgot about you.
They ain't thinking about you.
Right. So when I was in the loan business, I'm going around locally here trying to get realtors to know who we are. And I'm thinking to myself, this is low level because our area is so small, and these realtors like act like they know everything and they're too good for anybody and this and that. And here they're just scrimping by. So I said to myself, screw this. I'm not relying on these people. And I said, you know what? If I get known globally, one, I can help more people, but the local market will take care of itself. And those people will be coming to me to want to work with me. So I committed to that. And so when I said, how can I get known globally? Well, what methods can I do? So I started going on podcasts. I went to 10X Stages, Pete Vargas's course. I took the course, and then I paid 10 grand to go to Cardone headquarters and worked with him and Pat, and that changed everything. So I started telling my story, and I went on podcasts, and I hired a company that get me on podcasts. It paid me I paid them like $300 some to get on podcasts. Each podcast would cost me, but it's advertising. I've invested.
Right. Yeah.
And then I saw how easy it was. And I'm like, well, I can do this myself. So I started thinking about how to do it myself. So I found a company called 10X 360, not related to 10X or GrowthCon or anything or Grant. But
I was going to ask you about that. I'm glad you clarified that.
10X 360. Amy Woods, she's in the UK. I met her and I connected well with her, and they set me up like that. I think for $500, I got all the stuff set up. My graphic designer took care of this stuff here. And it's easy. They showed me how to do it. I attacked it. I was scared. I honestly not scared like the boogeyman was going to come get me, but I was scared like, man, this is going to be hard. Like, how am I going to put all this together? And I just attacked it. I literally started thinking to myself, anything I'm scared of, I'm going to do, I'm going to attack it.
Love it.
And it worked. And then it came out, and then I started getting feedback. Man, I love your podcast, this and that. I'm like, holy cow, people care about my story. Like, this is something that I lived with. It's not that big a deal. Like, I don't understand. So then I started talking about the mortgages on there a little bit. And then if I go to realtors around here or anywhere we go to ask for business, people know who I am now. So it's easy.
Yeah.
Like, we have so much business now that I got to keep hiring more people, which is a good problem.
That is a good problem.
But that's how it aligned with it. So then the coaching thing. Well, I can coach realtors how to go get business. So who are they going to send their business to now?
Obviously, you, yeah.
So that's how it aligned with it. So you guys asking that question. Now, if the economy tanks and mortgages stop like in 2008, which I pushed through that, but now I can also rely on monetizing the podcast, my coaching, my seminars, all the stuff that I know how to do to balance it out, because I'm not going to be a prisoner to the market. Right. So that, to answer your question, I hope I covered that. Anybody else have any questions?
I got a question, Mike.
Yeah,
brother.
What's going on, brother? How are you? Fire away. I can hear you. I'm good.
Good, bro. Listen, I didn't reach out to your boy yet, but I'm going to. I promise you. So my question is, so I have a team now. I have my DJ entertainment company. I got about six DJs, 5 MCs, 3 photographers, and 3 videographers that work for me now. And with that, the question I have is, so I have this team, but how do I get them all on the same page? Where would you recommend starting? Because I want to start integrating them into the sales cycle. Because I'm only one person. I can only talk to so many people, especially doing my police job as a full-time cop and running a full-time business. It's very, very, very difficult. So my question would be, what's your recommendation on implementing them, getting them into the sales cycle, getting them on board, and all that kind of stuff? What would you recommend for that?
Do you guys have regular meetings?
Every Wednesday. We have, for the weekends of events, we go over everything every Wednesday. We look at the list of events we have for the weekend, and we go over everyone's designations, what they're supposed to be doing, where I need them to be, timelines, schedules, all that stuff.
So first and foremost, right away in that meeting, you set a goal and a vision of how you want the business to be in a perfect world. And you let them know about it. And you got to say, guys, this is where we're going and here's why. And I know it sounds crazy. Listen, you can look at me crazy and all that. Get that out of the way right now. This is what we're doing. I don't care what any other company's done. I don't care what you see other DJs doing, wedding play. It doesn't matter to me. This is what we're going to do. Are you on board? Check everybody. If they're not, get them out of there quickly, as fast as you can, and start and look for someone else and add it. Because you're better off you're better off by yourself doing what you want to do and having it the way you want it, and adding one person at a time as you go. That rooftop leadership works. So that's the first thing. And then from there, you got to explain to them, I want to reward you for rewarding the business. So when you sell something, here's how it's broken down, and lay it out to them. And write it and put it in writing and show them it's got to be in writing because they got to see it, and get them fired up about it. And then start talking about, if you do these levels here, this is how much money you can make.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to ask next is breaking down a commission cycle on that. Like, how do you, I pay my guys very good, but in terms of giving them additional, because that's what I want to do. I want to incorporate a commission cycle and give them obviously more money towards the event. Plus they get first right of refusal to do the event, where they're going to get paid on the event as well. So I have to come up with a commission structure. Yeah.
So to give you an idea, in our business, it's not based off the revenue of like the loan itself, like a loan amount. It's not a loan, like 100,000, you get paid 30% of 100,000. It's not like that. Ours is smaller because it's such big numbers. So like if we have $10,000 in revenue come in, not the loan amount, but 10,000 in revenue come in, they may make somewhere in the ballpark of 10 to 20% of whatever the revenue of the company comes in as a. So let's say you bring in the revenue of a wedding. Let's just say it's $10,000. You might want to break them off $1,000 to start with. Now.
Yeah, that's good. I was going to do it as like, like for example, like one of my triple, I call it the Hollywood. It's a DJ photo, video package, and photo booth. It's about $11,500 for that package. So I was going to do like if someone sells that whole thing, they would get 10% of that.
Yeah.
Something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and it's something that you wouldn't have had, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, shit. And then they're not going to want to do that. And then what you got to do is say, guys, here's the thing. If you do 10 of these, you got to paint the picture. Like, you guys remember Bob Ross, the painter with the big afro guy that was on the public television?
Yeah.
And he would paint the picture, right? So
Yep.
you got to paint the picture to him. You can't just tell him, look, you're going to make $1,000 if I do 11,000 and leave it at that. You're always selling, man. You got to paint it. Listen, guys, here's the thing. We're going to grow this thing to this size. Okay. In order to get there, I need this much from each one of you. If you do 10 of these, you're going to make $10,000. In order to do 10 of these, how many people do you think you have to talk to? And then ask them. And then say, no, it's more than that. And then go over the numbers with them. And reverse engineer to get one sale, how many people you have to talk to. How many calls you have to make. And you just break it down all the way back. I know you've heard of that before.
Yeah, I think hard on you. Grant talks about that.
You literally have to break it down and then show it, make it real to them. And then if they know that they got to talk to 100 people to get 10, I don't know the numbers on your thing, but if they know they have to talk to 100 people, then they can say, hey, every single day I'm going to talk to 20. And in a week, I'll have 100 people I talk to. So,
I love that. Thank you so much. That's great.
Yeah, man, anytime.
It's a great place to start. Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else? I'm gonna unmute everybody again and see if anybody speaks up, because I don't know if you guys can unmute yourselves or not. Anyone? Anybody?
Yeah, I just want
Great
to.
info, dude. Always C-Roc.
Hold on, who's talking?
Jerry,
Just telling you,
you have to speak louder, man.
telling you is great info. I got a bunch of notes, so it was awesome. I don't know if my mic works or not. But.
Hold on 1 second. There we go. Godfried,
Yeah,
is that you?
Saying it was great info.
We can't hear you,
It's
buddy.
Crazy Jer. It's Crazy Jer.
That's cool.
Oh, it's Crazy Jer? Hold on. All right, there we go. All right, Jer. All right, we'll come back to you. Anybody else? Put your hand up. You got anything?
I think he was trying to talk about something happened. I don't know. I think.
I was just gonna say, I think that's great advice you gave.
He's trying to talk. I think Jerry is trying
there
to talk.
There he is. Okay, I'll mute him. All right, Jer, can you hear me now, Jer? Can you talk? Jer, talk.
I think you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, he's unmuted. He's unmuted now. Jer,
No,
talk.
on
Let me
his
see.
side. Well,
all right. I don't have him. Anybody else?
I was gonna say, no, that's good advice you gave to Caesar. Doing it that way really helps to set the expectation moving forward, because without really having the expectation, the guys, they don't necessarily know what they have to look forward to, or they don't know what pace is being set. And then everything kind of comes at them at a surprise versus kind of like doing what you said. And, you know, it sounds like just for conversation that he and I have had in the past, or maybe a little bit of that going on. And so I was just kind of setting that pace and letting the guys know that, hey, you know, this is coming directly from the top. These are all things I'm willing to do myself. So these should be things that you guys have no problem doing, right? Moving forward, I think it makes things so much more clear. I know I've had problems with that early on. You bring somebody onto a job and it's like, hey, here's the expectation. And they kind of look to you to say, okay, well, how much effort is this person putting forward on this job? And if they see you going hard, then they kind of do the same thing, because they know if they don't, they're out of there.
Yep. And the thing is if you tell them that you're going to give them 20%, they can make 1,000 or 11,000, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you just leave it. And then they start talking to people and they don't get a yes, because you didn't set the expectations properly of how many people they're going to really have to ask and paint the picture to them. They're going to give up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear too, is like mindset. You know, we talk about mindset, like-minded people. These guys are great. Don't get me wrong. I've been with these DJs and MCs for over 10 years with my company. They've been with me. But when I was talking to one of them the other day and I told him, look, I want to bring this company to $5 million. And his eyes popped open like, are you serious? No DJ company really does $5 million in my area. There's a couple big players, but for a part-time business to do $5 million, it's very difficult. And I say part-time business because we're not doing events Monday through Friday. We're doing events on weekends when people do events, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, you know, but it can be done as long as I have a big enough, you know, team of DJs and stuff doing events. It can be done.
Yeah. So the people that you have working in other avenues that aren't salespeople, they don't necessarily have to go through the numbers to get yeses, right? Because they're just trying to bring additional business into the company. But you may want to get to 5 million, you might want to bring in a designated sales team, salesperson, 2, 3, or whatever, to get to that point, so that they can go through numbers. Yeah, because the other people that are doing DJing and all the other things may not be full-time salespeople.
Right. They're not.
Yeah.
But I want to turn them into them.
Oh, and then get them out of the other thing?
No, I want to keep them doing both. They're going to get the commission on doing the sale, meet with the brides, meet with the clients, close them, and then also do the event. Okay. So they're going to make the commission on the sale and then also get first right to do the job and make the money on the job as well.
Right. So if you want to do that, you got to make
double incentive for that.
Yeah, you got to make sure that they're people that are buying into the dream and they're aligned with your goals, or get rid of them.
Definitely.
Yep. I had some other questions down here. Somebody said, mention clearing obstacles these next few weeks with a lockdown. How are you going to overcome this? Well, See, also something that happens in business, there's things that happen where you can't prepare for, but there's things that you can prepare for. And what I do is I watch things that are happening, and our company's already prepared for this. All of our staff can work from home. As long as we have Wi-Fi, telephones, we're prepared to work from home. Everything's paperless. And we have this Zoom, and we have Microsoft Teams meetings where we do Teams calls and a phone call or a video call all the time. So the only thing that we're not going to be able to control is the outside world, and we're going to do everything we got to do what we got to do, and we'll just work harder. So that's our goal, is that if we got to make more calls and we got to reassure our people and our customers, we'll do that and give it our all. So I hope I answered that question. And then Susie, my mentor group is about general business growth. It is about, if someone's starting a business, it helps them. It's about a salesperson that should be handling their profession as their own business. So I talk about that. And it also talks about seasoned people that are in businesses that want to scale and grow. Or if they don't feel like they have a firm foundation and culture, we talk about that as well. I go by what it's called the Way More method. Waymo with RE on the end of it, Way More. And it's a acronym, Way More, and every letter means something. And I go through those stages in those courses. And if I'm working with a group, it's like 20 people at a time. Okay, no more than 20. We get pretty deep into their businesses, and they also can call or text me throughout the week as well with questions, and I get involved with them, individually as well if I have to. So, did I answer your question, Susie? Let me unmute you. Hold on. There you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to text you and tell you a little bit more about what I do, and then you can respond whether you think it's appropriate.
Yeah, sure. Here, let me shoot my. I'm not afraid to give my number out either, guys. And I'm on WhatsApp, but here's my cell phone number too. Feel free to text me, call me, anything you want.
Okay, great. Thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Yeah, C-Roc, can we talk about how important, just with everything that's going on now, how important follow-up is going to be for people here moving forward, just with all the noise in the media right now, everything that's capturing people's attention, like they're going to be, their thought process is going to be everywhere. How important is follow-up at this point in the game right now?
Number one, everybody else that's not on the same action level that we are will be quitting, or they will be stepping back. It's a fact.
I agree.
So just the fact that you keep calling on your regular pace will be different and will be impactful. But my advice to you would be to step it up and see how hard you can go. And don't be worrying about what people think. If they're mean to you, if they're stressed out, just understand where they're coming from and know that it's not about you. And just keep rolling numbers, man. But yeah, that's everybody else is stepping back. I'm already seeing it.
Yeah.
I already see the realtors that we work with not showing as many houses, people not wanting to show their house. They don't want people in their house. I'm already seeing it. So what's that mean? We got to pick up our numbers.
Now, for you guys in a real estate space, when when you're working with a homeowner that maybe doesn't really want to sell their house because they're not feeling it, how do you kind of get them to change that perspective and get them to see the importance of why now is the time where they should be trying to push forward?
We talk about interest rates, where they are, and buying power.
Gotcha.
One, it's a seller's market right now. The inventory's low. We talk about that, and they're in power right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people say, well, and then as far as buyers go, I don't want to buy at the height of the market. If it's the prices are high and sell this and that. But what they don't understand, excuse me, is when you have interest rates go up, and at that point, even though the prices of houses might come down later on and then turns into a buyer's market, the interest rates going up makes the payments go up and costs you a lot more money in the long run with interest.
Mm-hmm.
So right now is a good time for sellers to sell, but also buyers with the interest rates where they are, even though it's a seller's market, still makes better sense than waiting until the rates go up and the prices come down. So we go over all those numbers, and again, paint the picture.
Yeah.
It's all about painting the picture, man. Providing information overload.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was just going to say too, I know we're jumping back and forth. I'm just going to jump back in on that. Kobe, what you were saying before, the one thing I started doing when this whole thing with the virus started coming out, people are worried about being locked in their homes. I'm not going to be locked in my home because I'm an emergency responder, so I get to go wherever I want.
Right.
But so if you guys need help, let me know. I'll come bring you toilet paper. But what I started doing, no joke, like over a week ago, I built out a 60-day campaign, email campaign, and I called 2 to 3 party planners that I work with from bridal shows to get lists. And I actually even sold her on selling me a list, which is next month, so that I can start working on those brides now before anyone else can get to them. So I'm starting an email campaign, and then I'm going to be hitting the phones. I have over 250 leads in my pipeline right now that I'm ready to start hitting the phones with, like starting probably, what's today, Sunday?
Sunday.
Yeah, probably by Wednesday, I should have everything up and running, and I'm going to be hitting it hard. So the thing I would recommend everyone do is hit that pipeline and just start running. Pick up the phone, man. Headphones in. Don't put the phone down. Dial, 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 dial. Everyone's going to be home.
No, that's true. Everyone is going to be home.
Reach people.
You're absolutely right. I love that. So let me ask you, because you've been in business 10 years here, and probably well over 10 years. But you said something a moment ago where everyone's going to be home, right? So do you have anything that's kind of put in place? Like a couple years ago, it was Zika, and then I think in 2017 it was Ebola, right? When these things pop up, do you notice if it has any effect in your business at all, or people like when they've got their mind on getting married, like that's the only thing that they see? Like, what do you see in your own business?
So my industry right now is very similar to that of like the sports arena. It's entertainment, right?
Yeah.
So I had to send back cancellations a little over $4,000 this past week. Wow. Cancellation deposits that people deposited to me. They were within their confines of the contract for cancellations. Yeah. So they all got their money back. A lot of them were schools and things like that. But I did also have another 10 events that postponed. So I had their deposit already. But now what we're seeing in my industry is we're going to have a backfill now of events. Everyone's pushing everything forward. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to have is a problem of manning these events further down the line, because I'm going to have weekends probably where I'm having 5-6 events in one day. Now the problem I'm going to face. I'm going to have to find more DJs.
Yeah.
So, and also the other thing, I was speaking to some venues. I put together a conference with all the other DJs in my area, and we were talking Thursdays and Sundays are going to be the new days that venues are going to open up for people to go. So what I do see is not so much maybe a hit to the pocket, but people are nervous and venues are canceling on people because the CDC is now mandating that you can't gather with more than 50 people.
Right. Yeah.
So weddings at minimum usually are 80 people, up to 500 people. I've done weddings as big as 600-700 people.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And so they're definitely not going to allow that. So it's a little tricky right now for me, but that's why I'm like, you know what? Throw the pipeline, start hitting the phone, start making future sales, because people are hopeful for the future. So that's why I'm gonna use that, and that's it.
Also right now, when you're calling people and it's very intense right now, you don't have to sell them, right? It's even just touching base with them, saying, hey, just checking in, seeing how everything's going with you. I know it's crazy
Absolutely.
right now. I just wanted to say hi and I'm wishing you all the best, whatever the case is.
You need help. You need help with the planning. Like, what can I help you with? It's value. Give value. What can I help you with? That's it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
It's reassuring the business that you're still there for them. I think that's the most important thing, to make sure that everybody feels that even if the situation it is in the way that it is right now, you didn't forget about them. You're there, and if they need any help, by all means they can reach out to you, even if it's not about business. It's just simple as asking, like we just mentioned earlier about toilet paper. Yeah. So even if it's that idea, a joke or not a joke, but the idea of being there for them. And, some people, they see this one as a personal touch. And especially, like I'm dealing with real estate. So for me, like I'm always reaching to them and say, hey, by all means, we are here together, if we can help each other, we can, if it's anything that you need to do, or right now we're gonna figure out a method. And by the way, just like a small thing, I received the other day from a company. They are specialized. I don't know how fast it can be specialized in something like that, but it's a company that's specialized in disinfecting larger spaces, like restaurants, wedding, whatever spaces. And what they do, they have like a army of people that they are like going to the specific space and using all the chemicals necessary, ensuring that there's no virus inside and all that stuff. And it sounds silly to a certain point, but I think that if this thing, it can be brought up to, if your customer needs that thing as a insurance. Hey, listen, if you're afraid that your space can be contaminated, I can provide you for free this service for you. So in that way, you can create a
Great
value.
idea. Yeah.
Because
listen, the other
at
thing
the
that was
end of the
great
day,
is
is the security of everybody, you know?
absolutely. I mean, the other thing that kind of felt good was that I had 7 or 8 companies call me looking for work. So that means that I'm out of obscurity at this point, somewhat in my space where people are looking for me for work, which I feel like honored for. And they're coming to me for guidance. I had two people reach out to get on their podcast about mindset. So I'm super excited about that. I'll try to let you guys know when that's going to be on. But yeah, man, listen, we just got to all stick together and just keep driving. Don't let this negativity bring you down. C-Roc, you hit that right on the head before. You just got to keep pushing forward and you got to keep driving. Hit the phones, hit the emails, and just take advantage of the fact that people, if they have to be home, they're going to be home. You're going to reach them because they're there. You know what I mean?
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna stop recording. Tone, is that good?
Got a lot of information to kind of go over and study there. So I think for now we may be good. Unless anybody had any other questions, comments, suggestions, now is the time.
No, I just want to say I think Caesar kind of hit on it. I think Peter kind of hit on it. Now is a perfect time to really differentiate yourself from any of your competitors in the market. Everybody is running from the hills right now, and I know C-Roc talked about that here briefly. Everybody's running for the hills now. If you can show your clients, hey, in times when all hell is breaking loose, the only thing I'm thinking about you is in your best interest. What can we do to kind of help earn your business? That's going to stick with people here moving forward. So just kind of reiterate that message if I could for everybody here.
Well done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.